I'm about to get mad for real because I'm trying to find a good angle and it's not angling. Like I'm trying to show the back, but it's not. I'm trying to show the shirt, but it's not. It's giving standing gag. Like it's giving. I'm gonna have to gag standing up because when I was sitting down, it wasn't giving. You know, I was trying to give like layer evil genius type gag, but it wasn't doing that. So we got to. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. A lot of change. Have to bear with me. But let's get into the movie review. Hello, everybody. My name is Adolphus. You know, it's been a while since you've seen me. It's been a hot minute, but I'm back. First of all, if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I'm back. Consistency is key, and I will be consistent. I promise. I'm here. So, with that being said, I'm happy to be back, and I just recently saw the Lilo and Stitch movie. We gotta get into it. Also, my hair is a little wet. Yes, the angle just changed. Mind your business. All right, let's just get into it. So, Lilo and Stitch is one of the best Disney movies ever created. When I say ever, I'm talking about ever. It's definitely top 5 in Disney's whole discography. Like, the movie is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I grew up watching it with my mom and my brother on VHS. It was everything. The movie is definitely a classic, and it's just one of those movies where, like, every time you watch it, it feels like the first time. So, of course, hearing about the live action, I just knew that I was gonna be the first one in the theater to see it. I mean, from the very first announcement, I was watching every casting update, every plot detail. And when I first saw Stitch in CGI, I was like, oh, it's going to eat. It's going to eat. I was very excited to see the movie. However, the movie was a chop for me, and I will explain why I think it was a chop. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to why it was a chop. Also, I'm gonna do this thing where I'm gonna see how long I'll stick with it, but I'm gonna start doing movie reviews, right? And it's either gonna be a chop or a gag. This movie is a chop. And if it's, it could be like a chop and a gag, so I gotta figure out what the middle one would be, but this movie is a chop. And I feel really bad giving it a chop because I love Stitch. So this might not seem like a big deal to everybody, but like I said, as a fan, it's something that I've noticed, which I feel like was a huge part of the Lilo and Stitch franchises, Elvis. Lilo loved Elvis. And in this movie, you would have thought this girl never knew who Elvis was. Like, there was probably 2 scenes in the movie where she had Elvis, and like, this is spoiler free, but then again, you can't really spoil it if you've seen the movie, like it's an old movie, but anyway. There's that scene where Lilo is like in her house and Nani's locked out, and like Lilo listened to Elvis. That scene is in here, but it just feels very like, I don't know, like, oh, remember this part? Let's have him throw this in there. Nothing ever like really sticks. And like Lilo, she doesn't mention Elvis at all in the movie. And I feel like that was a big part of who Lilo was. So I feel like as a character who loves a celebrity, you would think that you would make sure to put that in the live action, but that was like none of Lilo's focus in this movie. There was even supposed to be a scene where where Stitch was at a park. No, not a park. He was at the beach, and I forgot why he was there at the beach, but he had on an Elvis costume. Stitch was wearing an Elvis costume, and that was like one of those moments where Stitch, when they all started like bombarding him, like paparazzi taking pictures of him, and like Lilo was saying stop, and that was a moment like where Stitch just really lost it. I feel like we needed that in this movie, but they didn't even put that scene in here. Instead, they waited until the end credits to put that in the movie. And also, actually, spoiler alert, because there will be some spoilers in here if you haven't seen the movie yet. So, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. At the end of this movie, I feel like this review is gonna be all over the place. So like, just bear with me. At the end of this movie, Nani, usually, like, of course, in the original, Stitch ends up staying with Nani and Lilo. But in this movie, Nani goes to college and leaves Lilo behind with Stitch, and Stitch stays with a new character, this neighbor lady. And I'm like, I get like wanting to switch things up, but like sometimes you don't need to do that. Like, it's okay to do it play by play, and like maybe if you want to switch up a little something, that's cool. But like Nani going off to college, we didn't need that. I don't know. We didn't need that in there. We really didn't need that in there at all. Also, that scene where in the old one where Pleakley and Jumba were trying to capture Stitch while Lilo was surfing with her sister, and then Stitch pulls onto Lilo because he's trying to like stop himself from getting kidnapped by Pleakley and Jumba. But then Nani thinks that Stitch is trying to like drown her, this and this and that. In this one, that didn't happen at all. Instead, I gotta get into Pleakley and Jumba. Lord have mercy. Instead of Pleakley and Jumba even being there, Stitch ends up just falling in the water, and with him being so heavy, Lilo tries to help him up out the water, but instead she couldn't lift him up. So she had to, this sounds so crazy. Nani had to help Lilo out the water because Lilo was drowning and Stitch was still down there. I don't understand why they didn't just have it where Pleakley and Jumba tried to take Stitch, but instead they had it seem like Stitch was too heavy for Lilo, and so she couldn't help him out the water. And then once Stitch got out of the water, I don't know. And plus, that was at the end of the movie, so they switched the scene. I don't know. It's just stuff like that to where like it's like in the movie they'll take scenes and recreate them in a weird way. And it's like the movie was very much like just, it felt rushed in a way. Like you can tell that this movie was made for Disney Plus, and that's the main thing. That's my main problem. You can tell this movie was made for Disney Plus. Matter of fact, if this movie was never put in theaters and I just watched it on Disney Plus, I probably would think it still was bad, but I'd be like, oh, it's a Disney Plus movie. Of course it's like that. But like when you release something in theaters this big and you got this, the marketing for this movie was extremely good, by the way, so I will give them 10s on that. Marketing was top tier. But then when you look at the movie, it looks cheap. The movie looks cheap. Like Stitch, by the way, one of my pluses for this movie is that Stitch himself looks amazing. They did a good job at like capturing Stitch's essence. Stitch was fine. I have nothing to say about Stitch. Like Stitch, I actually laughed at him during the movie. Like Stitch was perfectly fine. And Lilo, the girl that played Lilo, she was actually great. She was amazing. I have no problem with her. I'm about to mess this girl name up. I feel so bad. Her name was like Meg Lola. I messed her name up real bad, but that girl, she ate as Lilo. She did a good job. She was very cute, very adorable. I feel like she portrayed Lilo very well, but also I feel like it's not her fault because I feel like the directors, everybody should have told this girl, hey, act like this because Lilo's like this, like this, like that, like that. They didn't mention Elvis at all. I feel like this version of Lilo wasn't as mean or like as, not mean, but what's that word? Like not as much of a rebel as the other Lilo was. In a way, like they tried to show that at times, but it was like it wasn't really given that. The movie seemed very like low budget, and I found out that this movie was made with like $100 million, and the other Disney live action remakes were like 200 to like 300. So you can tell. So that's just that. But I feel like you shouldn't put something in theaters. I mean, granted, the movie is getting the money, but like that's what's expected because it's a live action Lilo and Stitch movie. So who wouldn't want to go see it? But overall, the movie is bad, but at least they're making the money back. So I mean, a win is a win, I guess, for them. But like, it was not giving. It wasn't giving. Even like Pleakley and Jumba, the guy that played Jumba's voice and his whole entire character was nothing, in my opinion, like the guy from the original one. And like, I ain't saying everything gotta be the exact same, but like, at least try to make the character a little bit like the other character. Like that, it felt like a whitewashed Jumba. The Jumba was whitewashed. Like, I don't know how you can whitewash, oh, well, it was played by a white man. So that's the thing, they were played by white men, right? And I think the other one played by white men too. But like, it gave whitewashed Jumba. I can't quite explain what I mean by that, but it was very much watered down Jumba. And Pleakley. Hold on, because I got to give a moment of silence for my girl Pleakley. My they and them. 1 second. They botched Pleakley so bad. They did them so wrong. They did my non-binary alien so wrong. Pleakley was not in drag now one time this entire movie. You know what they did? They had the white man who played Pleakley put on girly shirts. I'm talking about like probably like a shirt that had like a flower on it. And then like have him wear things that would be considered feminine. Because I guess they was too scared to push the envelope. Chopped. 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 You know, when you take out Gantu and then you completely change Pleakley, who was like, dare say, people's favorite person in the film besides Stitch, you really had no choice but the movie to be chopped. And also, the girl that played Nani, no, the acting wasn't that good. And I hate saying like, oh, you know what? I don't like saying actors are bad because you know I'm an actor myself, so I wouldn't want nobody saying that I'm a bad actor, right? But I feel like the actors that they chose for these roles was just not giving that. They didn't feel like, I feel like the girl that played Nani, I feel like she wasn't even supposed to be playing Nani for real. She didn't. I don't know, like Nani, she looked ethnic, and this girl, I don't know if she's Hawaiian or not. I heard she is, I guess, but like she doesn't fit the role. It gives like Disney tried to. Why? I don't know. What I will say though is that the opening scene was incredible because they did a play-by-play of the original movie from start, like from the first 20 minutes. It was a play-by-play. They did really good with that. I will give them that. And then also that one scene where I forgot her name, the councilwoman, she was supposed to come back and grab Stitch to take him back. And even though they kind of messed that scene up too, but they kind of I just remembered. The heart of this movie, I feel like was gone. I feel like the heart of Lilo and Stitch was gone. I feel like the meaning, Ohana means family, was completely gone. It's like in those scenes in the cartoon where when Nani was singing Lilo that song, where she was putting a flower in her hair and they was singing like on that, I don't know what you call that. That thing, it hangs outside like from a tree or whatever like that. They put it on there and like she would just sit on it and like singing to her. Or like when Stitch was outside and he was like, I don't have a family. And like he was seeing those ducks walk like outside in the dark. Those dark moments that I feel like the film needed, it wasn't in there. And even like there was even a point in the cartoon where Lilo didn't even like Stitch. She was like, oh, you can go, I don't care. They didn't have that in here. It's like Stitch and her was cool from the beginning to end. Even the girls who bullied Lilo, they were not even in the movie. They were in the movie for like the first 2 seconds. But Lilo was bullied. We're supposed to show how Lilo was an outcaster. Of course they showed an outcast. Of course they showed in the movie how Lilo was like, not just your regular girl. But like, I feel like in the cartoon, they really, really showed that. Like how Lilo wants to fit in, but she can't fit in. And she finally embraces that. She's like, I don't want to fit in anymore. I like being myself. And she becomes best friends with Stitch. But in this one, she didn't hang out with anybody for real like that. She didn't try to make friends. That little ugly doll that she had in the movie, they showed that doll like one time. Like, they didn't even... The comedic timing and the emotional, heartfelt moments from the original one, I feel like was really lost in this movie. And it gave... You know what? The movie gave straight to DVD. Now, I would say, like, why would y'all put this in theaters? But I get why they did that. And the money they're making shows that they made the right decision. But the movie is chopped. It was chopped. And if I'm trying to think about any good thing I can say about the movie, I would say that they portrayed Stitch very well. I think the girl that played Lilo was she did a great job. And none of the characters were memorable to me. Like the CIA agent who's supposed to be a substitute for Cobra Knuckle Bubbles, I didn't care about him. The neighbor lady, I didn't care about her. Nar. But you know what? When I was in the theater, I did hear some kids laughing very loud in the back. And that made me realize, oh, this movie it's not for me. Like, it may have came from my generation, but this movie is like for the new generation. And that could be it. It gave Disney Plus, it gave current Disney. And I still think even though when you try to make something for a new generation, you can still put things in there that where all generations can benefit from it, because not only is that money, but like, why not? That's a masterpiece. but they didn't. I feel like they just dedicated this. Of course, they put things in there for like the older generation, but like the new, you can tell from like, I don't know, just everything about it. You can tell it's made for Disney Plus. You can tell it was cheap. You can tell like it was just not made for me. And it was a chop. I didn't like it. Take a shot for every time. Every time I say chop, take a shot. So if y'all have took a shot for every time that I said chop, you should be blacked out by now. So congratulations, you're welcome. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give the movie a 4. That's what I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 4. This is my first movie review, so I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I kind of like, I don't know. I'm gonna get better with time, but like, you know, at least y'all get to witness me do my first movie review. So if you watched the whole thing, thank you. You a real one. You a real one. I love you a lot. Subscribe. The movie made $1 billion, I heard. People buying the tickets, so hey, they making the money back, so they ain't mad. I love Stitch. Like, any Stitch content is fine with me. I mean, after seeing this movie, I know what to expect, so I really can't be disappointed next time. But I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. Adults gonna be there. Movie was the chop, but I'll be there. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate you watching my first movie review. I'm very nervous to watch this back, but I'm gonna post it anyways because I'm real. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Please let me know in the comments below if you thought the movie was a chop or a gag or somewhere in the middle. Let me know, please. I'll be reading everything and responding to y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Deuces.